In innovation, we're like, no, 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 be challenging, put out your ideas, and it's in complete conflict. So you can't change a culture by saying, challenge your managers, it's just not going to work. And so you have to create that culture through communication, ongoing communication.
I want to talk about the cultural attributes that enable innovation from your perspective. You wrote this whole book that talks about how to engage and work with different coworkers and their personalities and kind of meet them where they're at. But at an organizational level, I think mindset and how people think about innovation and risk taking really matters.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
how
yeah.
do you think about that, and how do you think about feeding a mindset of innovation?
Sure. That's a two-part question. First, you have to think about how people have been promoted in the past, right?
Incentives and legacy and all that. Yeah.
Well, I followed the rules. I've done what my boss told me to do. I'm not challenging because that's going to rock the boat, right? And that's still the way it is. That's how people get promoted. In innovation, we're like, no, 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 be challenging. Put out your ideas. And it's in complete conflict.
Yeah.
So you can't change a culture by saying, challenge your managers, it's just not going to work. And so you have to create that culture through communication, ongoing communication, safe places, such as facilitated sessions where you have like visualize the vote, okay, which is where you have ideas up on the wall and everyone in the room has a vote. They have a sticker for their vote. And what that does is it takes the power equation out of the room. So you might be a vice president, but people might love the administrative assistant's idea. You know what I mean? And
Yep,
so it's kind of
absolutely.
like
And your vote counts the exact same as the new marketing manager that you just hired, whoever's in that room. Yeah.
Exactly. So there are tools to sort of get over some of those hiccups of fear, but it's also getting over those hiccups of middle management not wanting to accelerate that stuff because they have their goals, right? That their goals and they get promoted. So it's kind of like you have to think of things a few steps ahead to make sure everything is aligned, if that makes sense.
Well, it does. And I mean, I talk a lot and think a lot about what we sort of refer to as the stuck middle, which is a little bit of a derogatory phrasing. I don't love it because there's a reason, right? There's a reason that middle management has their own goals and incentives, and they're in a really tough position, right? Trying to deliver without a lot of authority. And so you do have to recognize it. But it still begs the question, what do you do?
Sure. So if you're lucky and you are able to get to that CEO and the board, you can say, hey, everybody's goal in the entire company needs to tie into innovation in specific ways. That could be revenue generation, but really a better idea is to go for behavior change. Innovation is behavior change. Okay. I want someone to stop doing what they're doing today to embrace the solution that I'm putting forth.
Yes.
So that could be operational efficiency, that could be a customer purchasing something new. And so if you phrase it like that, because the word innovation is nebulous, right? Everyone thinks they know what innovation is. And even in our industry, we don't have the concrete definition. So I believe if you focus on show me, employee, how you created behavior change to create an efficiency, that's hardcore proof data.
Yep. It's funny. I was in a room, I think I was in Memphis. I was standing in a room in front of a bunch of pretty senior executives of kind of mid-market companies, and we were talking about innovation. And I was kind of going through a spiel of, basically why it mattered to pay attention to the problems in your business. And so I'm up there technically leading a session on innovation. And yeah, someone turned to me and they're like, so what is innovation? And I got to tell you, I work in this space. I've been in this space, depending on how you think about it, my entire career in one way or another. And I was a little like slack jawed. I was like,
Yeah.
your definition is so close to where I landed. I landed on the, in innovation is something that gets people to change behavior,
Yes.
right? Not through coercion, but because it's something that, better solves the innate problems in their life. Like that is innovation. And it's interesting because you're applying that to internal processes and organizational dynamics and culture change as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. So you also talk a little bit, I believe, tell me if I'm making this up, about the importance of picking your battles as sort of an innovator and as somebody who's trying to lead from the trenches. That can be really hard. How do you think about, do you have kind of a framework for thinking about this? Like, how do you decide what battles are worth fighting, or perhaps what ideas are worth pursuing is a less militaristic way to talk about it?
So I call this the wall of no. Okay. It's the wall of no, and it's made of ice. And so you should set your own expectations that it is going to be a journey where you have an ice pick and that you have to pick that ice wall apart at different places. The different places represent different people. Okay. Now, if you have all of the right people, it's easy to get through that wall of no. If you have people that say no, you come up not with an ice pick, but you come up with a match, or you come up with a blowtorch. Okay. And you're going to come up with an alternative way that they see the problem, or that you can make the problem more real to them and how it's going to impact their world. And so when you are able to knock down enough chunks of ice, that's great. And you go over those, the ice is on the ground.
Yeah.
But there's going to be another wall of no. And so this is where innovators need to realize that it's not the innovation that's launching into the world that is your win. Your win is taking down those walls of no and celebrating them. Yes. I had a situation today. We are in the middle of launching, operationalizing an innovation. Okay. And I had many different stakeholders in the room. And at the end, everyone was nodding their head at the same time, right? My team celebrated that, okay, because that was the win. That was the win. And so now that they're all nodding their heads, there's still work that needs to be done, but our job is done. We got everyone on board. So huge celebration.
Do your executives recognize that as a win?
My boss does.
Good.
My boss does. He's an EVP here at the company. Nobody cares about the process. The wall of no is part of the process. What we care about is the result.
That's right.
And so the result is going to be what is the usage rate, the adoption rate of this new technology. That will be the real win. But we already know it's going to work because we've already tested it with our hypothesis testing and using that research, right? So it's statistically significant. So we aren't worried about it not working, but we need to make sure everyone is nodding their head and doing what they need to make that happen. So I would say we're about 2-3 months away from having that executive really thrilled.